Hello. So we are now recording. Welcome to the recorded portion of the last webinar of Food Waste Prevention Week of 2024. Whether you're here with us live or catching it as a recording, we are very excited that you have come to learn how to lead your coworkers in a seriously fun household food waste challenge. So for everyone here is live, we do plan to keep it short. We plan to keep this recorded part to about 30 minutes and leave time for facilitated networking and discussion. So let's get started. Yeah. First of all, before we dive in, we would really like to say that we are proud to be partners of Food Waste Prevention Week and DMV Food Recovery Week, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So it's like our local area food recovery week. Both of these partners obviously have a lot of webinars that have already been recorded, and we would love to just encourage you to check out any of the webinars that you may have missed. And we're the last one. And actually, thank you for the person who mentioned that I only learned about it at the last minute, so this is the only webinar I could go to. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for making this the one that you ended up getting to go to. Um, so I'm going to tell you right now how to lead your coworkers in a seriously fun household food waste challenge. So you absolutely can do this yourself. Without getting too much into the weeds of the research that supports this, there is a lot of research and resource out there that have basically said the same thing, that measuring household food waste is an effective food waste reduction intervention, and doing it together in small teams is a very effective way to retain interest in continuing to do it and to take action. So to do a challenge, first of all, you want to find people to do it with you. So we say, based on our experience, find 1 to 5 friends of coworkers. So you can do the challenge with just your household, actually, which is also rewarding, but it's actually hard to keep yourself on track when you do it all by yourself. A small group of about 5 to 6 colleagues is ideal, which is also according to the business literature, basically like what an effective size of a team is. You can try to do it with more, but we've actually found that bigger teams, like if you're trying to run a big challenge for a lot of people, it really becomes retention becomes a major challenge, and that is not fun for leaders. So if you're trying to do something fun for a small group of people, like 5 to 6 is usually kind of the sweet spot. Second, have each of your people who you have recruited get their households to track their discarded food for 7 days. So call this your baseline week. Try to get them to just track the data and don't try any strategies. It's just about tracking the data. This is actually kind of hard once you tell them it's about food waste, but that's a whole other discussion. So you can use instructions and definition provided in the US EPA's Food Too Good to Waste toolkit, or really any procedure that gets the households aware of what and why they're discarding food, and to measure how much. So you can measure in weight or volume, but we recommend volume because you don't need any special supplies to do that. So third, have some way of sharing ideas. You'll want to come up with a method of sharing that works with your team. So that could be in-person meetings, it could be Zoom meetings, it could be a group chat or reminders by email. But after you collect that original baseline set of data, get together and see what you found. And you'll find that your conversations will naturally be fun and interesting. This is also when you can share, ideas. This is where you can share, Food Waste Prevention Week webinars and other types of resources with each other. And hey, if depending on, I saw some of the registrations in this room, you can share your own resources because you are the food waste specialist in your district. So yeah, take a week to learn and share and discuss. And then fourth, take action. So the next week, you have everyone to try actions and collect another 7 days worth of data. So call this action week. Then compare your results between baseline week and action week. And then share them with each other, share your results with each other. So it's great if you can organize a meeting to discuss your results. If you want to get crazy, you can come up with fun awards or silly titles that you make up. But you'll find that if you do this, you'll find that you most likely had serious fun together. You probably learned some new skills related to food, maybe saving money or whatever strategies you came up with. You probably strengthened your relationships with each other, and you contributed to reducing food waste, which is the number one solution to global climate change, according to Project Drawdown. So that is the general structure of a household food waste challenge that I promise any highly motivated person can do using resources freely available online. You could do it too. At the same time, if this sounds daunting for you to do on your own, you can make the most of food with us. So today we actually just changed on our website the link that it says learn to lead instead of pre-register, learn to lead. So this is Make the Most of Food at Home is the world's largest food action research project. And today we are launching the on-demand version so that it's an online course that provides step-by-step video instructions and downloads of off-the-shelf materials that you need to learn how to lead a small team in the Make the Most of Food challenge. So as of today, you can go to our website here and click the Learn to Lead button. And then you can really learn how to do it step by step by step. Okay. But just to give you a bit of, and that's really all you need to know. But to give you a better idea of who we are, so we, Rights for Cycle Leaders, are here with some leaders who I will let introduce themselves who actually did the challenge. But hello, I'm Beth Gingold, the CEO of Recycle Leaders. And with me is Erin Peterson, our communications manager. So as a consultant, I help district level school sustainability staff with kind of three core elements that are often missing in school sustainability programs. That is how to train school leaders to create accountability to results, how to train the operations staff to lead recycling programs, and how to train the education staff to align their projects with actual sustainability goals. And basically this is came from my experience of designing these types of 4 weeks of Enact and delivering them for all DC schools when I used to manage the recycling program for DC public schools. So this challenge came out of COVID, actually. We were working with some green teams and we are going to do something in April, and we've found out, oh, wait, well, schools are closed. So what can we do remotely? So we just used the EPA's Food Too Good to Waste toolkit. We gamified it a little bit to make it appropriate for green teams, and we tried it out. And then we got lucky because it was a remote thing, and some other organizations found out about it and were like, "Can we join?" And we said, "Sure, it doesn't cost us anything." So we had a couple other kind of professional groups try it out. And that's how we learned that it actually is also a great thing for many different types of groups to do, not just green teams in schools. So I just talked about myself a lot. Erin, do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Hi, I'm Erin Peterson. I'm a course instructor and communications manager with Recycle Leaders. I ran the Make the Most of Food at Home challenge back in 2021 with my green team, and I joined Recycle Leaders soon after that. I'm really excited about this webinar, and I'm really excited about the course because I'm in the course. So if you want to hear more from me, you can sign up for the course. Thanks, Miss Beth.
Excellent. Thanks, Erin. So just to give a little better idea of what it is, when you click on the big orange button on the website, it will take you to this course registration page. And it actually is three things. So actually, I do know we do have a lot of registrations from school districts. So the first purpose we actually had is it fulfills the purpose of creating an off-the-shelf action research project that any middle or high school student can actually do on their own if they're like assigned this for a class. Like, we want every student to be able to do a high quality project and have like good support to doing that. So we are going to be also providing a coupon code for any individual student who just like has to do a project somewhere can do it with us for free and give us feedback to improve the course. Second, it fulfills the purpose that got you to this webinar of anyone who wants to do it as, with a small group of peers, especially coworkers. It is now available for a small fee of $150 for just anyone who wants to do it. A third thing is it is a customizable course. So we would love to partner with any of you to make it specific to your team or organization. So for example, we'd be happy to chase grant funding or sponsorship with you. We got a mini grant to run a version with high school students where we actually tested cash incentives. We also right now are really excited to partner with Conservation Nation to deliver a customized course for their teen leaders in conservation program. We would love to work with a school district and their sustainability district people to have the resources be specific for teachers in their district. So there's all sorts of things that we would love to do with it now that we're launching it online. So to give you a little bit more idea of what's in it, is it really provides basically it is the project. It really tells you step by step how to first do the challenge yourself and then how to lead a small group in doing it. So it has resources, but specifically the calendar helps you figure out what do I need to do when, and it's kind of the key difference between just doing it on your own. It just kind of helps you have a really step by step process, including all the things to ask people to do and when to ask them to do them. The other thing that it has is our tried and tested data sheets. So you'll find that we say in the recording, you really don't need to use our data sheet. You can use, just keep track of these things, what and why you discarded. At the same time, it's if you've tried using data sheet, like we've tried using this before and has worked with lots and lots of people. So the resources that you have to download are ones that have been tried and tested by the more than 300 people so far who have taken the course. And I meant to say, combined collectively, we typically get a reduction of about 50% reported difference between action and baseline week. So we also do provide some kind of like default suggested things. And the thing I want to plug today is our partner Eater Toss, who's been voted most useful resource by some of our participants in one of our other challenges. She's also partnering with Ends and Stems to host the Food Waste Prevention Week's Cooking Challenge. So if you are here live and you haven't already entered the cooking challenge, there's still time. Go to this weekend. You can enter any recipe that you want that is related to reducing food waste. And we're shamelessly plugging our entry, which is our Hey Hellmann's Use It Up Potato Salad, which we posted on Instagram because they're a food waste partner with us. And we would love to find a sponsor to, do this for food waste, do a challenge for Food Waste Prevention Week with all of you. So if you're interested in that, you could like our post and say, hey Hellmann's. Also, I do actually use Hellmann's. This is actually a thing that I do to use up random things in my refrigerator. So yes, have fun, join the cooking challenge, go to the Eater Toss website. It can help you decide whether to eat or toss things that may have, and the scientific reason behind why it's okay or not to eat something that you might be unsure about. All right. So we have these resources in the portal about how to do the challenge, but we said we'd do one that's seriously fun. So the question is, well, what makes it seriously fun? And the answer is you guys, or seriously fun team leaders. So we can provide all of the guidance documents that we want, but ultimately, whether it's actually a fun and inspiring thing to do depends on how it's facilitated. We do give some like tips on this in the course based on behavior science and motivation. But to get you started thinking about it, I want to give you a little thought experiment to do together for fun. Okay. So here's an example you may have experienced. You may Or an example of something that people might want to share during Action Week of the challenge. You might be the author of something like this, considering who signed up to be in this webinar. So I'm not actually going to do this as a poll, but just think about it. You see this headline, top 10 easy things you can do right now to reduce food waste. And you feel what? So just, I'll give you a few minutes, not a few minutes, a couple seconds. And you can, if you want to say anything you want, react in the chat. Um, and I'll do a better job of responding to everyone like when we have our breakout sessions. But for me, I have felt all of these things depending on what it is that the blog said. So it might feel validated because I've done a lot of these things. So I can go, oh yeah, I did those 10 things. That's great. I might be inspired because there's like one that I haven't done. Like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me do that one. I might feel overwhelmed because it says something like, make a meal plan. Like, I hate making meal plans. I'm never gonna make a whole weekly meal plan. That's I might feel alienated because, well, for example, I live in an apartment building. A lot of things, or don't have a car, so drive a car to thing, and there's a lot of things that maybe I can't do. I don't usually feel angry, but the thing, the easy that you can do right now. Well, I felt a little bit different about what was easy, like when I just had a baby recently and nothing was easy. Don't tell me any of these things that are easy to do. So it's just to say that you can see why, I mean, you know this because you work in this field, that it's a major challenge for awareness raising, that the same message can be heard very differently by different people and can have like different results for, different people. So, one thing that makes this action research challenge different from a behavior change or awareness raising campaign is that it's really designed to help participants learn how to make data informed decisions in their own lives and to come up with their own ideas that will work for them. So, it's great to be informed by, everything else out there, but it's also um, very, it's specific to the people who are actually doing it. And so that's the one thing that makes doing it with small teams of peers really effective, is that as a leader of a small group, like, you personally know your team and you know each other, and you'll be able to share resources with each other that are like most relevant and inspiring to you. So thank you for participating in that little activity. And now we're going to hear from three leaders who successfully led teams of coworkers. The first two are recordings, and we have Megan Quinn here live. Very exciting. So I'll do the recordings first, and they'll introduce themselves, and then we'll have Megan take it away.
My name is Phoebe Byerly. I'm with the Center for Green Schools at the U.S. Green Building Council, and in 2021, I led a group of 5 school district sustainability staff from around the country in this challenge. I decided to lead the group because this community in particular is educating students and staff about living more sustainably on a daily basis. And they're also working with school operations staff to implement food waste reduction programs, composting, improved waste streams in the buildings. And it really felt important to understand our own habits, understand how to measure and manage actual waste data, and also deepen our relationships as a community of practitioners. The best thing about this challenge was really having a community of like-minded professionals to learn from. I knew already that the most egregious offender in my house for food waste was my 5-year-old daughter, who left her lunch half-eaten half the week, and it was always thrown away at the end of the day because it was old and couldn't be salvaged. What was fun was to learn recipes for using up produce. The chocolate banana pudding recipe we learned is still a favorite in our house. We also learned strategies for shopping and organizing the fridge. And there was just a lot to learn from other teammates, my own teammates, excuse me, and also other participants and the program staff. So that was great. In terms of the most important difference that made in our lives, I think for me and my teammates, it was developing an awareness of what our habits were and where improvements could be made. Beth and the teams empowered us to have strategies to make change. They knew where those levers for change existed and helped empower us with resources and connections to really make change. I definitely learned how to shop and cook smarter, and our team absolutely learned how to embrace leftovers. While our team was not a workplace setting in particular, I think that this program would be awesome for a workplace setting. I wish that my coworkers would take part. It brings the team together around an actionable and impactful challenge. It's different than tracking your steps on your Fitbit, but the results can have lasting impacts on your own health, your teammates' health, not to mention your wallets, and also the health of the environment at large. Oh, it's definitely a great program. I highly recommend that folks check it out.
Thank you to Phoebe for sharing that. We now have, oops.
Hi.
Beth's trying to change the slides. So here's Julie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Rogers, and I'm the Internal Communications Manager at the Virginia Information Technologies Agency. But more importantly, I'm the Wellness Coordinator there. And as such, I ran the Make the Most of Food program back in 2022 with 6 of my coworkers, and that encompassed 10 total people in their households. So the first question was, why did I decide to lead this challenge? Well, as the wellness coordinator, I'm always looking for unique ways to engage employees, but also I love anything to do with food, so that was a no-brainer. What was the best thing about the challenge? It really gave a wonderful opportunity for coworkers to get to know each other on a different level, and for me, it was very satisfying to see what a difference it could make in their lives. An innovation that I brought to the challenge, maybe not so much an innovation, but it was an incentive for those who participated. They all received reusable cloth produce bags, and then we named winners for the most improved and for the best strategy, and those winners received a compost bucket. An important difference that the challenge made in my life was that it gave me the opportunity to get to know some of my co-workers on a deeper level, and I really enjoyed that. And for the participants, we had one that said the thing that really hit home with her was exactly how much food she was wasting. It was a real eye-opener for her. Another who participated with his 5-year-old said, it gave new life to the ongoing conversation with my 5-year-old son and my wife about our impact on the ecosystem. We enjoyed talking about where food is produced, how it's transported, stored, and consumed. I think that was really cool to bring that learning moment in with his child. So why should a workplace run the Make the Most of Food challenge? Well, it's a terrific way to engage your employees, especially in this remote world. If you have remote workers or hybrid environment, even works with that. Gets them to talk to each other on a different level and make those relationships that I think in the end help work go better when you develop relationships with people. So I highly recommend running this program at your workplace.
Thank you, Julie. And now we're so excited. Hey, Megan, are you ready?
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hey, I have to
My
stop
name is-
do my technology thing.
I love that
Thank
Julie's
you.
team was "Don't waste it" with
I
their
know. I was like, that
their
was the
reviews.
best
I
team
want to be
name.
on her team.
That was we gave an award for best team name that year.
That's a good one. Hi, I'm Megan Quinn. I work with the Department of Environmental Quality in Virginia and run their Office of Pollution Prevention. We run a number of programs that promote reducing waste before it's created, but we also support recycling as well and other diversion programs. And we participated in the challenge in 2022. We did it along the same time that Julia's team had done it. And one of the reasons that I decided to do it was just to prevent food waste. It's something that I'm passionate about outside of what I do for DEQ on a day-to-day basis, but knowing that it's the largest substance by volume that's sent to landfills, and that 1/3 of the food that's produced in the US goes uneaten, it just, to me, screams opportunity. It's something that everyone touches, everyone is involved, everyone eats. So it's something that I know that Beth had done the little survey earlier, like how you can feel alienated when you get to some of these things. How do you address it? But I think it's something that we can all take small steps to address, and you don't have to do everything and solve every problem or not waste every single grain of rice. But it's an area that we can all work to make small improvements in. And it was something that none of the other programs that I work with really had been addressing specifically. So we'd been doing some work internally to encourage composting, and when we compost in our own household, just like our own food waste. And I feel like it's a little mini audit every week when you see it sitting there, and granted, it also has the banana peel and some uneaten parts, or parts that you wouldn't eat of the food. But, I feel like just having it sit there and seeing it, separating it from the other trash, it really makes you more aware of it. So when I would be encouraging people to compost their food waste at home, it was really so that they could see the wasted food that was happening within their house every week. And this challenge really gave it the opportunity to focus on how to reduce that, not just see it there and be like, oh, what did we do this week? And also knowing that food waste at households, I mentioned earlier that 1/3 of the food produced in the US goes uneaten, and the largest percentage of that is actually food at households. It's a big group, and it's a big chunk of waste, and it's hard to reach people in their houses and get them to change what they do on a day-to-day basis. So the second question was, what was the best thing about the challenge? Was the way that Beth's team has set it up. It's really simple. You look at what you're doing and you come up with ways together to address it. And I feel like it made a tangible difference. So that, getting to do that and feeling like there was something that we were all working together for a common goal felt really good. And it was also great meeting other people throughout my agency. We have offices across the state of Virginia, and I work in central office, so I don't necessarily interact daily with people from all the different regional offices. So we had some people who participated in the challenge that I wouldn't know otherwise, and it was just great hearing what tips they had. And it was really interesting. Our baselines really ranged from people who started with a really small baseline and really were keyed in on what to do, and then other people had had more opportunities for reducing their food waste, which probably my house was on more of that end. Than there were some people that I was just so impressive. So it was just inspiring to see what some of my coworkers were doing already. And then the innovative thing that I think our team did for the challenge actually happened before the challenge, that we did a webinar that went out to all state agencies to try and get them interested in participating in the challenge. And that was kind of how Julie got involved. And one of the things that we did for that webinar was we didn't only talk about the challenge, and Beth came on to talk about the challenge, but we also had a chef come talk about how to give food a second life, and talked about making stock and how when you chop up an onion or peel carrots, you can save all of that, freeze it, and then make stock with it, and kind of walked us through the process of making a soup and saving what was extra, what wasn't going to end up in the soup to make stock with later. So I feel like we were able to reach people who wouldn't have necessarily just signed up for a food waste challenge with that webinar, and we probably got a few more to participate in the challenge, but also got more people thinking about it. And even if they didn't fully participate in the challenge, I think we like planted some seeds for, you know, steps that they would take at home, or maybe they would think twice about the way they were doing something. And so some of the things that I learned from the challenge, a lot of it came from my coworkers. A lot of just freezing more leftovers and freezing different ingredients before, like when a recipe calls for a can or a cup of something and I had to open a can of the pumpkin, I could freeze it and save it for next time, or diverting it to pets. My dog has definitely benefited from some of the, like the leftover canned pumpkin or other things that I can use to mix together. And of course, I make sure that it is pet safe, because not all foods are, but certain ones that I know that my pet can eat, putting it in bones and stuff and freezing it, that he has really enjoyed that. Another tip from a coworker was saving leftovers in glass containers to make sure that you can see what's in there, so it doesn't end up wrapped up in the back of the fridge somewhere and you can't, you know, you don't remember what it was in there, so it sits there for days. And I think we also had talked about the Save the Food campaign was one of the things that came up within the challenge team that I had done, because they have some great resources about how to properly store food. So that was just one thing that I found helpful, like making sure that if I get cilantro at the store, like I put it in the water and then put it in the refrigerator. Different tips for making sure that the food lasts as long as possible. And then why should you run Make the Most of Food challenge with your coworkers, besides the obvious of reducing food waste? It's great to just bring coworkers together, help build a connection between coworkers, and create a sense of community between the people who value reducing their food waste. But I think it can also lead to other projects. And one of the things that we're going to do a trial in our central office soon is do some composting within our office. We're trying to pair it a little bit with food waste, but we don't have, you know, it's mainly what people bring in for food. We don't have like a food service within our, or like a cafeteria that's making food within our office. But that's been really exciting to see how it's kind of evolved and gotten to open some doors to do some other things within like the food waste and diversion space. That was all I had.
Well, thank you, Megan. And actually, that cilantro thing, I used to always buy a thing of cilantro and use it to make guacamole. And then I used half of it to make guacamole, and the other half would just get wasted until I did this challenge myself. I don't, and you know, there was a resource that told me how to store the cilantro in a grilled glass container. So, same thing.
Mason jar, yeah, it's
Mason
so helpful.
jar. Yes, thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing and for coming. And so we want to move into like discussion for everyone is here. So we're just going to, this is our last slide. So we're going to end the recording here. So if anyone is watching the recording, you can go to our website, press the button, contact us. Let's get going with our discussion. I'm going to hit stop recording and I'm going to close this. So thank you for listening to that part.